All right, sit back. Because if you think a fence dispute is just about a few inches of cedar and some property lines, let me tell you, you have no idea how wild things can get in an ordinary neighborhood. I mean, when you wake up on a perfect Saturday sipping coffee, listening to classic rock, just working in your yard, and the HOA president storms across your flower beds like she owns the earth. Yeah, that'll jolt you right out of any suburban daydream. Let me walk you through it, the worst 72 hours of my life that turned into a year-long war. I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy. It all started with that now infamous line, "Get that illegal fence down now." Karen White, yep, that's her real name, of course, came striding right through my marigold's heels, clacking, not even blinking, as she crushed the flowers I'd planted just last week. Never met her before. Didn't matter. She came in like a drill sergeant holding a tablet, a measuring tape swinging from her belt pointing at my fence and declaring it violated the sacred HOA covenant by 18 inches. She gave me 72 hours to move it or cough up $750 a day, plus legal fees, plus removal costs. But here's the thing, I'd had this property professionally surveyed before I put in a single post. I'd filed every deed, copied every document, triple-checked every inch, paranoid maybe, but my folks lost their place to a slick scammer when I was in college. Swore I'd never let that happen to me. So there I am, paint all over my arms, boots caked in mud, staring up at this woman who's literally got the high ground she'd climbed onto my planter to loom over me, and she's got her whole speech rehearsed. This is a violation. Section 4.7, County Property Regulations, blah, blah, blah. I tried to keep it civil, told her my surveyor, Morrison, was top-notch, worked with the county for 2 decades. She waved me off, claimed her info was newer, secret only for HOA board members. Not required to share with homeowners, she says, clutching her tablet like it's the Ark of the Covenant. Every move felt rehearsed, every step calculated to avoid my security cameras, like she'd mapped my yard in advance. She started a timer on her phone, 72 hours. I suggest you use them wisely. And just like that, she's gone, leaving my flowers flattened, my peace shattered, and my mind running a mile a minute. The rest of that day and that night couldn't sleep. I went through every file, every permit, every scrap of paperwork. All matched. No question my fence was legal. Next morning, though, she escalated. Orange spray paint. Violation. Scrawled across the cedar. I'd just finished staining the paint, still wet, dripping on my boots. Jim Peterson from across the street spotted her car looping the block before dawn, saw her sneaking out with something in her hand. I took photos, documented every angle, noted every timestamp, started keeping a little notebook like a detective. Then this is where it turned cinematic. A note shows up under my windshield clipped with this weird little green triangle paperclip. Check 1247 elm, 1251 elm, 1289 oak. Same pattern, same tactics. You're not the first. No signature, just the clip. I follow the clue, and sure enough, at those addresses, I find other victims. Robert Davis forced to demolish a beautiful deck after 18-inch violations. Another house empty, the family gone after Karen hounded them over a garden shed. The same script, same threats, same daily fines. I'm hammering up a temporary extension on my fence when my phone rings an attorney for the HOA. Cease all construction activities. Your modifications are unauthorized. Mrs. White has documented evidence of your non-compliance. I almost laugh. My non-compliance. Karen vandalized my fence that morning, and suddenly, I'm the problem. Evening comes, and Karen's back this time with 2 HOA board members, her muscle. You're escalating unnecessarily. Mr. Thompson, she says, voice loud enough for all the neighbors to hear. We're imposing additional penalties for your failure to comply. I'm soaking wet from hosing off after a long day's work, but I stand my ground. This is harassment. I have witnesses, I have evidence, and you're on my property without permission. The little cracks in her confidence start to show. That night I couldn't shake one question. Why was Karen so sure of herself, so aggressive, suddenly so nervous about witnesses, about documentation? What was she hiding? Early next morning, I got my answer. I catch her at dawn loading boxes into her SUV, boxes marked county records, HOA files, survey documentation. She drives out to a storage unit and stashes them. I get photos, license plate, unit number. She's hiding evidence plain as day. Armed with photos, I march into the county office. Jennifer, the clerk, pulls up the records. No survey updates for my street since 1987. None of the documents Karen claims exist are in the county system. Someone requested the files back in March, but there haven't been any updates, Jennifer tells me. I walk out of there with an official certificate, no records found. Karen's whole campaign is built on forgeries. As I talk to more neighbors, the pattern sharpens. Every target lived on the side of the street facing Karen's house. She wasn't just harassing people randomly, she was clearing out anyone who might witness what she was doing. And what she was doing, I soon discovered, was worse than I imagined. With the help of a mysterious box that shows up on my doorstep. Again, the green triangle clip, I get my hands on real aerial photos, original building permits, financial records. Turns out Karen had built her garage and master bedroom 8 feet over the line onto my property, then forged survey data to cover it up. She was $180,000 in debt, facing foreclosure, and needed to sell but couldn't, not legally, not with illegal additions. Every neighbor she drove out was a potential witness. Every fake violation, every forged document, all of it a smokescreen for grand theft of land. The twist. The person tipping me off all along is Dorothy Foster, the quiet neighbor across the street. Turns out Dorothy isn't just a nosy old lady, she's a retired judge with decades on the bench specializing in property law. When I finally confront Karen with the evidence, photographs, permits, the work, she loses it, screaming threats, promising lawsuits, vowing to ruin me and my family. But by now the whole block is watching. Jim's filming, Dorothy's taking notes, other neighbors are gathering. Karen's mask is gone. She threatens bullies and finally snaps. But this time she's got nothing. The HOA meeting that followed was legendary. 60 neighbors in a room meant for 30 cameras, rolling, everyone waiting for fireworks. Karen comes in with her lawyer and her board cronies, puts on a big show, flashing fake documents, accusing me of harassment and erratic behavior. But when it's my turn, I just lay out the facts, the victims, the evidence, the county records, the drone photos. Then Dorothy steps forward, calm, measured, announcing her credentials for all to hear. "Mrs. White," she says, "I believe we need to talk." The whole room goes silent. Karen looks like she's seen a ghost. Dorothy reveals she's been quietly gathering evidence, contacting the authorities, pulling phone records, tracing financial transactions. She lays it out. Karen hired ex-cons from a shuttered development company to forge the documents. She built on my land, harassed witnesses, laundered fines through shell companies, and tried to sell her house illegally. Karen's own attorney drops her on the spot. Dorothy calls the district attorney right there in front of everyone. Charges are filed: fraud, falsifying public records, harassment, you name it. The HOA boots. Karen immediately sets up a fund to help her victims. Her illegal additions are ordered sold to me at market value. Every penny she squeezed out of the neighborhood gets clawed back. Over the next months, the investigation blows up. FBI involved, local news picking up the story, even state reforms for HOAs. Dorothy becomes our unpaid legal advisor. Jim's elected HOA president, and neighbors who'd once kept their heads down finally start speaking up about Karen's reign of terror. I finally get to keep my fence where it belongs. My home is mine, secure at last. You know, planting a new oak tree where Karen first stomped my flowers, I realized this whole ordeal wasn't about 18 inches of land. It was about standing up to bullies who abuse authority, about fighting for justice even when you're scared, and about how communities can come together when one person refuses to be broken. Documentation beats intimidation. Truth outlasts lies. And sometimes karma just needs a little help from the neighbors. But let me ask you, where do we draw the line between authority and abuse? How do you stop someone like Karen before they destroy more lives? If you've ever tangled with an HOA, if you've ever been bullied out of your own rights, or if you just want to see justice done, drop a comment below. Tell me your story. I promise I read everyone. Let's make sure folks like Karen White can't ever get away with it again.
Cảm ơn các bạn đã xem video.